Well, let's do this, guys. Let's look forward and not look back with the intel that we have tonight. I'm going to try to give you the view that I get, which is interesting. And the first thing I'm going to talk about, so I don't forget it, is there has been something that was put out. You guys might have seen. I think it was today. Might have been yesterday, but it was about taxes. Something was said that 50% tax would be levied on our exchange. I have to tell you, that's a lie from the pit of hell. There is no tax on our exchange. It's a tax-free exchange. Now, will you ever pay taxes? Yes, because the money that your exchange proceeds earn, if they earn money in a structured payout, for example, over 25 or 50 years, like I'm going to go for, and let's say you earn a rate of 4% on that per year, 1% per quarter, guess what? You'll pay taxes on the interest that you earn on that money. It's considered passive income. Okay? Now, that's the tax that you would pay, just like it's considered passive income. It's also considered, it's as if it were earned income, but it's called passive income because your money is earning interest for you. And yet that also presumes no change in the tax plan, the tax structure that we will have going forward, which under NASARA could very much change for us as far as, and remember who Bruce is not, I'm not a tax accountant, I'm not a CPA, I'm not anything like that. And hold one moment, please. Okay, so, you know, by not being a CPA or a tax attorney or an accountant or anything like that, I do have some experience with taxes. It goes back to the age of 16 for me. But I will say this, we expect under NASARA a new tax plan for us. And even though I think I know what it might be, I probably should not let you guys know what I think it is. It's better for us just to wait to see what comes out. But let me ask you this. Why would President Trump several times say that he would recommend that we would have a moratorium on withholding payroll taxes through the end of the year? Well, one thing, it benefits employers because they don't have to withhold as much on you, and it would benefit you because the money that that's being withheld from your check would go to you, and you would not have to withhold it. That would be a real benefit. That would be like getting a raise, a nice little raise. Now, is that something that could be a precursor to a new tax plan that could be in place by the end of the year? Possibly. Don't know if it's retroactive to 2020, the beginning of January of this year. We're just going to have to follow it. We're just going to have to see what happens. But the point is, don't worry, this is not a taxable event. You're just going to pay taxes on the income that is generated from your proceeds, not the proceeds themselves. All right? Now, we got that one out of the way. Let's go to what else we're hearing. We're sitting at a really interesting time. Let's say that we're getting pretty close to 10 o'clock Eastern Time. You realize that at 12:01 Eastern Daylight Time, let's call it 1 minute after midnight tonight, everything cuts loose. Everything gets released. And what does that mean? What am I saying? What does that look like? Here's what it looks like. It looks like the green light is turned on for the intermediates to be funded, the admirals groups to be funded, Corps and all the others to be funded to receive at least a portion of what they're to receive. And I believe the amounts will be a little lower than anticipated to start, but then after we go, Tier 4B, after we go, I believe that the amounts will be commensurate and they'll rise to that, to receive what it is that they have coming to themselves. Now, here's what's really interesting to me. We had at 4 a.m. in the morning, yesterday morning, Wednesday, we had a go-ahead to begin. However, there were things called audits that took place, and the audit is more of, in this particular case, this was a way to prevent people that were not supposed to be paid in Tier 3 and SKRs and so on from being paid. And this has been going on where you guys know I use the analogy of cleanup on aisle 3. Well, cleanup on aisle 3 has been going on solidly in this area for the last 2 months to well over 11,400 arrests. Now, in that 2-month period, globally. So, they are really doing an excellent job of preventing people that are not supposed to be getting this blessing from getting it. And I can tell you that cleanup on aisle 3 is continuing and will continue, but it really is going to be good for us to get everything started after 12:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on May 1st, tomorrow. Now, what else is important about that time? By midnight tonight, Eastern Daylight Time, by midnight, this is a mandate from the IMF that all debt from all African nations will be forgiven. All debt from IMF to all African nations will be forgiven by midnight tonight. That is the start of Jasara globally. In addition to that, President Trump is putting our plan, our national plan, Nasara, in position to run parallel with Jasara. And that at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow morning, which is 1 minute after midnight tonight, we revert back to constitutional law. And under constitutional law, there are several things that will be changing, one of which is the concept of sanctuary states and sanctuary cities will no longer be acceptable. And you will see about 29 states begin to scramble to get themselves out of that status. Because funding to those states that are sanctuary states and sanctuary cities will be cut off by the federal government under the constitutional law. It's also going to affect illegals that are here that are no longer allowed to be here. All green card holders, my understanding is, will be vetted again to make sure that they are of good stead, and that they are to be able to remain in the U.S. under that status as a green card holder. So there's a lot going on. You know, we have heard that that Australia may have started their exchanges under the RV. We heard that yesterday. I don't know what time or date they started, if in fact they did start, but it's the old east moving west, east coming west on this. We also heard and we've seen that the Vietnamese dong is no longer available to buy on TravelX, which is a major site, and that guys know if you've traveled at all. TravelX has kiosks in a number of airports globally, throughout the U.S. and also in other countries, for currency exchange. So you go in, you're traveling to a new country, you get there, maybe you're going to exchange dollars for euros or dollars for something else. Well, guess what? They don't want to be caught with their pants down. TravelX has too many outlets, and they don't want to be caught in the middle of a rate change. So they no longer have the Vietnamese dong for sale. Very few dealers, I can only think of one or two, that still have dong for sale. And I will say this, one particular dealer, some of you guys have heard of, out in California, is no longer able to get dong or Zimbabwe dollars for sale. They no longer have them being issued from the people that they were getting it from. And now there's kind of a call out if anyone wants to sell that to them, and it would be at a way below market rate. They're trying to buy up some so that they can resell it, because they're out. They're out. For all practical purposes, they are out. That's a good sign. When the dealers dry up, which is what we're talking about, and TravelX no longer has the dong for sale, and we know that Zimbabwe has made their decree that they have a revalued dollar on par with our dollar, and it is an asset-backed currency, that's exactly what we're looking for. And my understanding was that at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow morning, meaning 1 minute after midnight tonight, we will have a digitized USN, or United States Treasury note, digitally, digitized. So we are moving forward with that. Do we expect an announcement to some extent about an asset-backed dollar? Yes, and we think it could come as early as tomorrow. All right, let's see if there's anything else that's relative to us. All of this start tonight. The green light starts at 12:01 for the groups to be paid out. This includes the intermediate groups and what we used to refer to, or I still refer to as Tier 4A, begins tomorrow and Saturday, paying out Friday and Saturday. Now, beyond that, when is Tier 4B our chance to go? The best information I have so far today from several sources is talking about 36 to 72 hours later. That 72 hours would put us to Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock, that we could be notified after that time, but more than likely our start would be on Tuesday. Now, notice Tuesday's date. That's right, Cinco de Mayo, cabrones. Cinco de Mayo. So you've got 5/5/2020. That's interesting. That's interesting. We're just going to have to keep an eye on that. We're just going to keep an eye on that because that is looking likely. We can't call it, and I'm not calling it. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. That's all. Now, beyond that, what will take time from now to then is the pickup and drop-off, is things happening relative to Jasara and Nasara, and we should see something pretty soon regarding debt jubilee or debt forgiveness. We already are in some aspects of universal basic income with the $1,200 stimulus. So we're just going to have to see how that unfolds in the next several months. But we are really poised. And yes, did I think we had a shot of going by today and not even being on the call? Yes. But like a moving target, the information changed. And actually, after Tuesday night's call, I heard from some key sources that at 9 p.m., the start of the big call on last Tuesday night, everything changed. And, of course, I'm going, oh, great, okay, what is it? Where are we now? What's it look like? And, of course, I've just given you what it looks like right now. As far as our exchange procedures and our redemption of Zim, everything is the same as I said on Tuesday night's call. And with one possible exception. Let's say you're a Zim holder that has a few notes, 2 or 3 notes, not very many. A couple of 50s, maybe a couple of 10s, 10 Ts, 50 Ts. Not a whole lot. But the value is great. Don't get me wrong. The value is great. When you tell them that you have currency, when you're setting up your appointment, you will say that you have Zim. Bring the Zim with you. You may be able to get that exchange done at your first appointment. That's a correction. That's a change from Tuesday's information. Okay, last Tuesday. So it appears that if you're a small player, which you would be with 3 or 4 notes, that you could get that done. And you would have quite possibly a default rate. It's back in again. It's out, it's in, it's out, it's in. Well, for the purpose of this call tonight, it's back in. Now, because it's changed, I can't tell you what it is. Just know that you would have something as a default rate, and you would also, if you wished and felt entitled to a larger amount than what was defaulted to you, you could set a second appointment to go in and lobby for a higher rate on the Zim because of your humanitarian projects. Because of the fact that they may be designed to go several generations, a generation being 80 years. And so it could be you'd go 3 or 4 generations. That could be 240, 320 years or so. And this could happen with or without you. If you're not around, somebody below you you would hand off your projects to, and they would see them through, and so on and so on. It's like successor trustees or successor beneficiaries, when you do your trust. Somebody else will take over where you left off upon your demise. So, that is back in the mix, and I wanted you guys to know that. However, everything else that I told you Tuesday still holds. That minimum, meaning that advance of $1 million to $25 million on a, let's call it a temporary debit card, if you're a ZIM holder, that may go away if, in fact, you do your few note exchange of a few notes. You may not need that because now you have a default rate available. We're just going to see how they deal with that, It may come down to whether or not you're going to do a second appointment or just be happy with the default rate on your first appointment. And again, if you have a lot of ZIM, more than likely you're not going to do your exchange or your redemption at your first appointment. Still take it with you, because they may want to run it through the Deliveroo machine. They want to make sure anybody that has ZIM is legit and that their ZIM is also legit, even though you may not negotiate it at that first appointment. Let's just say it that way. So they are doing their very level best to clear the people who are not supposed to be part of this from being in it and taking advantage of the situation. And you know what? It's worth the wait. It has been worth the wait. And of course, we all would have rather gone yesterday and whatever, but you know what? Ultimately, it's best for all of us to have the highest level of security, to have the highest level of legitimacy in terms of people that are able to do these exchanges and the redemption of ZIM for the right reasons, for humanity. Remember we talked about Tuesday night the idea of you're going to be doing a complete 180. All your life you've been trying to earn money. You've been trying to make a good investment on something. You've tried to just gain, gagner, earning, right? Garner. But you know what? After you walk out of that redemption center, especially after your second appointment, should you choose to have one, everything's different. You're coming out as a philanthropist in the making. You're coming out as someone who is seeding your funds into humanitarian projects and needs. And it's a totally different way of looking at money. You're no longer motivated by profit. You're motivated by getting rid of the money responsibly. Responsibly sowing it into people's lives. That's what it's all about. It's a 180-degree turn and a paradigm shift for all of us. The sooner you grasp that in your mind now, before you go in, the sooner you see yourself as that individual, as that humanitarian, as that philanthropist, the easier it's going to be for you to walk in that new light. And I'm excited, Sue's excited, Bob's excited, we're all excited to move into that new paradigm shift. And we all have major ideas, major projects. Sue has worked with hundreds of people from the big call with between 12 and 1,500 different projects. And it's just beautiful. And that's not everybody that's listening to this call, obviously. So we are in a position to really begin something amazing. And I know that we are being refined like fine gold, with the dross coming to the top to be skimmed off in this refinement process. But you know what? It's for our own good. This is for our benefit and for the benefit of others. I'm very excited. And I'm very excited, even though this seems to be taking a long time. Would I ever have thought we're talking about May? No, not in a million years. I really didn't. But I can see what is happening daily. I know what is going on behind the scenes. And the money has all been moved into place. All of the global collateral accounts and the trust funds and the heritage trusts have all moved into place. All the paymasters are flush, ready to go. They're looking for that green light at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow. You know, it's going. And we did get started. And it will manifest to us in our own time. It will manifest soon. So let's all stay excited. I'd say get your projects ready, your presentations ready. Practice, gain your confidence in what we're going to do. And I look forward to being in touch with you, unless something happens differently, being in touch with you by email. So make sure that you have registered on our website, bigcalluniverse.com. And that's the only way we'll be in touch with you regarding future projects, which, as you know, between Rebuild America and the Veterans Retreat Network and a few other projects that we're doing from the Big Call, that's what we're looking at. And I'm excited. And all of these little tornadoes that hit in March and so far in April, that's job one for Rebuild America, to take those and bring those, all that housing back. Better than it was, too. Way better than it was. To make it as windproof, let's just say it that way, to make it as windproof as we can make it, whether it's hurricanes or tornadoes. All right? So everybody have a great night tonight. And all of you listeners out there throughout Big Call Universe, which to me is everything outside of North America, all around the globe, listening to us for these 9 years that we've been on. So I really appreciate you. Let's pray out, and let's have everybody enjoy the weekend. Let's hope the country starts opening up a little bit starting tomorrow and Monday, and we'll see how it works out for all of us. Okay? Again, whenever you're ready, and good night, everybody. Have a great night tonight.